Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade and today I am doing my July wrap-up. It's not what I would like it to be, but I am getting more inspired to read currently, as literally like 2 minutes ago I just finished like the best book I've ever listened to on audiobook, because it had a full cast. I don't think I've listened to a full cast yet, like of actually different people. But let's just get into what I read this month. So the first book I finished was Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, which I'll be having reviews come up for this real soon. I just have to film my spoiler review first. This book was so amazing. It didn't stick with me as much as I wish it would, but the world building is so unique, and I have never read a book that like made me not want to stop actually, a lot of the books I read made me not want to stop reading it, but this book I didn't want to stop reading. It was so beautiful. The characters I connected with on like such personal levels, even though I've never experienced anything they experienced. They were just written so well. There's two main characters in this book. This book is about a guy named Laszlo Strange, who is an orphan who is raised in a monastery, who one day visits a library to deliver a message and doesn't go back to the monastery, so he stays as a librarian. He spends all his time dedicated to finding about this mysterious city that disappeared called Weep, and he's the only person in the world who's ever actually studied Weep, and he's learning everything he can, even though most things were lost or never written down. And then one day, a caravan from this lost city of Weep comes looking for people with special talents to bring back to their city to solve a problem. And it evolves from there, not devolves. You also have a second perspective, which I don't really want to spoil because I liked being surprised by it, but it definitely gives you the other side of the issue, as there is a major conflict in this book that's happening, and it really gives you what the other side is going through, and that is an amazing thing. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month was actually The Wicked Deep. I read that on a library book and I had to return it. Well, I didn't have to at this point, but that book is also amazing. I really loved it. Okay, there's this certain setting in a book that drives me insane and I get obsessed with. It's in a small island community that has like tourist season, which is what the main book is about, where like it's kind of like it's either takes place in like Rhode Island on like that coast of the US or the other coast of the US with the Pacific Northwest area on like, and it has to have this magical element in it. I love books like that. I read The Rattled Bones, which takes place in Rhode Island, which I was obsessed with. The Price Guide to the Cult is also like that, and then this book. For some reason, I get so lost in the setting, and I love the setting so much that I'm just obsessed with it. So that book is an interesting story. It takes place in the modern day, but there a long time ago, like 200 years ago, these 3 women were prosecuted as witches and drowned in the harbor. And every year since then, during the time of the solstice, it's like during like this certain time in summer involving like the solstice. I think that might be when it ends or something like that. The summer solstice, or I don't know, but it's like this certain time. They come back and possess bodies. The 3 sisters possess bodies of 3 teenage girls in town, and they drowned the teenage boys in the town as revenge for killing them. So that's something that, you know, you kind of learn the reasons why behind and what's happening. And there's this new boy who comes to the island, and the main character wants to protect him as he has no idea what's happening, what he stumbled onto, and she doesn't want him to die. And she kind of feels responsible for that. So you learn about the sisters and what happened to them and why they're coming back. And there's this romance that unfolds too, which I enjoyed. Some people didn't, but I really liked it. I think it was such a beautiful book, and I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month, which I'm so sad I took so long, because I got this book like a year and a half ago, I believe, and that's The Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. This book was so good. I think this is the first like kind of like cowboy book I've ever read. So it takes place in a different world, but it's like a desert world. It's kind of like in the Middle East, basically. If it was like, I think it actually isn't a different world. I think it just takes place in like the Middle East. I don't really know. Don't take my word on that. So the main character is raised in this small mining community basically, and she's a sharpshooter. She just like spent all her time as a child learning to shoot, and she's raised by her aunt and uncle, and she doesn't like want to be there, and there's things unfolding in the household, so she wants to get enough money to leave to go to this giant town where she feels like she can find herself. But then she gets involved in something, and she meets this guy, and it turns out he's running from their government, he's a rebel, he's a traitor, blah blah blah. And yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, yeah, he's called a foreigner, like they don't call him like anything like a rebel or anything really, but she just finds out the magical element in the book, which I thought was so amazing. I don't know if it like talks about it, so I don't really want to talk about it, but the magical element in this book is so freaking cool. I can't talk about it, but she discovers something along those lines and a lot of other things that are kept hidden. I don't know, I can't really go much further into that, but I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 stars, as I loved it. The next book I read this month, which destroyed me. If you watch my reading vlog, it destroyed me. It's History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. This book, for this first 100 pages, I want to say I cried every time I read it, and I could never read far into it because I would start crying. Oy. It is about a boy whose ex-boyfriend just died, and it takes place in the past, where you see his relationship with his ex-boyfriend unfold, how they start dating, how it progresses, their love, why they break up. And then it also takes place in the present with him dealing with his loss, uncovering new things about his boyfriend that he didn't know because they had already spent a year apart, as his boyfriend was 2 years older and was starting college. And, yeah. So, like, Jesus. Their romance is so cute. Like, you guys, their relationship is, like, my dream relationship. Like, what I would want from life. And it hit me so hard. It was so beautiful. And the main character, he suffers from OCD, and that's really interesting to see and how he deals with it. This is an Owen Boyce's novel, as Adam Silvera also is gay and suffers from OCD. So this book made me cry so many times. I should also say that in the present, when he's dealing with it, the only person he's found that really understands him is his ex-boyfriend's new boyfriend. You know, so, like, that's how he discovers a lot about his boyfriend, but also, like, he learns to heal from it, and it's very beautiful, and, I need to read all of Adam Silvera's books, because, Jesus, he's so good at writing. Okay, 5 out of 5 stars. And then the last book I read this month is Sleeping Giants. I actually don't remember the author, but oh my god, it's so good! Listen to the audiobook if you can, get Scribd, you can get a free month trial, listen to Sleeping Giants. I'm dying! This book is so good. I can't handle it. Like, I just finished it, which is why I'm, like, this involved in it. But it is about this giant hand that is found in this pit. And it's about uncovering the secrets of the giant hand and finding the rest of the body. And, like, it's a sci-fi book. It all takes place in interviews, and, like, things like that, so it's like a multimedia sort of thing. That's why I think it's better to listen to than read, in my personal opinion. And Jesus, what I really loved about it is it was a lot about the science aspect, but also the human aspect of the main characters and what they're going through as this big discovery is happening. And I loved it because the main character guy, like, you see him evolve, kind of, or, like, I don't know, I just really liked him in the end, even though he was kind of a dick throughout it. But it's such an amazing book. The characters are so awesome, and it's just like, I don't really want to go into any of it, because I feel like it would all be spoilers, and I went into it not really knowing anything. But please read it if you're, I get if you're not into sci-fi, but this book, even though, like, I'm not really into sci-fi, this book is so amazing. I recommend it. Please read it. Okay, I'm gonna go, because, like, I am so hyper right now, it's not even okay. But I love you all so very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below. Tell me what books you've read this month, or what books you saw me read that you're interested in. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye-bye!